Okay, my name is Griffin Kurtz,
My name is AJ Contragunta.
I'm Vasilios Panos.
and this is our presentation on The Thief and the Dogs. Our interactive presentation, so the interactive part is this game that we have created, and then we'll be going through our analysis as we go down this story game that we made.
Episode 1, Saeed in prison. He has been waiting for this day through all the years of prison, counting the days with a bitter patience.
All right, this opening scene is kind of laid back and chill. It establishes Saeed's character, but what it mainly does is it establishes Saeed as my #1 overall pick for Mr. Pena's class. Saeed has the motivation of revenge. Instead of prison reforming him, all it gave him was vengeance and resentment for the people who took his life. The word bitter in this quote conveys how his outlook has symbolically changed, and he doesn't understand the new Cairo. He can't adapt to the new Cairo. It has changed during his absence. Location connects to a theme of alienation because his punishment cut him off from the real world, and he blames Raul and Nubiwa for abandoning him. Prison is where his spiral begins, through the gates.
Right, so I would totally agree with this, and if you look at the scene, the prison cell is nasty, which just kind of shows like, it's supposed to parallel how nasty the betrayal was, right? I mean, his wife left him for the person who put him in jail in the first place. They've worked together. And then especially if you look at Raouf, who was his mentor, and we see later on in the story how important Raouf was to him, and then he betrayed the ideals as well. So that is what the first scene is representing. So next, moving on to the second scene.
Episode 2, Saeed leaving prison. The gates opened and he stepped out, but the world outside was no longer his.
Right, so this second scene is incredibly important. It depicts inside the game, you can see Saeed as he's leaving and walking to Ilish's house in order to see Sana. You can see down here within, there's Ilish's crooks watching him, which is part of that scene. And basically, the imagery of the prison gates opening symbolizes his newfound freedom, but later on, it'll add on by this newfound freedom, instead of using it as an opportunity to eventually reconnect with his daughter and starting a new life, he squanders this opportunity in his resentment and seeking revenge.
Episode 3, meeting his daughter after prison. She clung to her mother's skirt and shrank from him as though he were a stranger.
So I feel like this scene, if Griffin would agree with me, it sets up Saeed as more, not the #1, but maybe the last overall pick for Mr. Pena's class. His daughter won't even talk to him. Could you imagine that? His daughter backing away like he's not even a person. Saeed's alienation from his daughter, which he yearned from prison, is showing how the new Cairo is rejecting him. It poisoned his family ties. The quote emphasizes the theme of betrayal, not only by adults like Raouf, but also by his family and fate itself. Saeed experiences alienation not just socially or politically, but at the most intimate level, at his daughter. This encounter deepens Saeed's obsession for revenge, and he continues that to believe even his own bloodline was turned against him.
Right, I would absolutely have to second this because, I mean, even look at the diction and the details that the author is putting in. The gates open, or no, she clung to her mother's skirt and shrank away from him as if he was a stranger. I mean, that has gotta hurt, right? I mean, all these years in prison and all he's wanted to see was his daughter. Yeah, that's awful. So, but that also, alludes to why he's really looking for revenge so heavily.
And then could you describe the scene? Like, why is Ilish?
Yeah, so Ilish is there, and you can see he's kind of got a blank expression because, well, he might feel like he's already won, but also, he might also be scared, which later on in the book we see this as he flees the house that they meet in initially and goes off into hiding. And Sana's obviously crying because she doesn't even know who this guy is. She doesn't know that's her father. She thinks it's some random guy that just got out of prison. So that's pretty much the scene.
Episode 4, visiting the Sheik for the first time. The Sheik's word fell on him like rain on barren soil, yet no flower of faith grew in his heart.
Yeah, so for this one, the Sheik is basically representing Saeed's choice, where he has an option for two paths. And this is kind of the split branch where the Sheik is trying to push him towards redemption and, sticking with his morals that he knows. Especially later on in the story, we have flashbacks where we see his innocence, and all of this is just squandered in the name of revenge as he goes down this destructive path, trying to wrong those who have wronged him in the first place. So this kind of symbolizes the turning point for him.
And then, can you describe, like, they're standing on what? What are they standing on, and what's going on in the scene?
Yeah, so within the scene, they're standing on prayer mats, right? So that symbolizes any religious imagery within the book, which, there is a lot, especially in flashbacks with the father, when they did incantations at night and stuff like that. So there's some religious imagery there. And then with the words, you can see he's saying, "Can I stay the night, Sheik?" And then the Sheik has that repetitive statement where he says you have to pray and read to Saeed. So the repetition shows that he's being pushed towards the right path, towards redemption and sticking to his morals, but eventually he chooses the other option.
Episode 5, at Ralph's mansion, first visit. Once we were comrades, but now he is a man of villas and chauffeurs, and I am nothing but an outcast thief.
So, in this novel, we've seen Saeed's daughter betray him. We've seen the Sheik tell him to pray. But I think the main wound of this story is Raouf's betrayal in the novel. Saeed's visit to his former mentor's mansion exposes the hypocrisy of the post-revolutionary world. Once a radical journalist, Raouf now enjoys the luxuries that other corrupt people before the revolution would have enjoyed. This broader disillusionment with the revolution symbolizes power, wealth, and compromises of post-revolutionary Egypt. Betrayal and alienation are still in the scene. As Saeed reveals his ideological father figure, his resentment crystallizes here, transforming him into an even more revengeful state. Symbolically, the chauffeur at the gates reinforces Saeed's outsider status. Once welcomed as a comrade, he is now reduced as an intruder to Raouf's mansion. And then, I see you have this cool chandelier and fireplace in Raouf and Saeed. And I had a question I never got to ask you. Why is Saeed's face red?
That's to show he's angry, right? It's to show his intense emotions that he's going through. And basically, I would definitely have to agree with you on your analysis there, because like heavily on the alienation, this used to be like a brother to him.
Yep.
And he comes back from prison to find that he has also changed up on him, basically, just abandoning the ideals.
I feel like for a real world example, you can kind of reference this to someone like Carson Wentz.
What's going on with Ralph's outfit?
So yeah, Raouf, he became rich, so now he's wearing a suit. And then one last thing for this scene, I would say, is that like when I was first reading the book, I thought to myself, like, why is he so mad at this Raouf dude when, you know, his wife literally cheated on him and his best friend put him in prison? But I can kind of understand, like, after really analyzing the book, like how awful an ideological betrayal like this is, even when towards the end of the book, Saeed betrays his own ideology and his own morals in his own way. So it's kind of like a parallel there with that.
That's good. That's good analysis. Episode 7, At the Graveyard, First Visit. Among the silent tombs, he felt more at home than among... Oh, apologies. Episode 6, in Noor's apartment. Noor's room became his refuge, a hiding place where he could rest his very body, though never his tormented soul.
So, Noor provides like the compassion and loyalty. It's the closest thing Saeed has had to like real love. Her apartment is a like symbolization of shelter, and it's only temporary. It highlights the continuing theme of alienation throughout the book, because even on intimacy, Saeed cannot find peace. His tormented soul shows that vengeance will continue to pass the surface of Saeed, and he'll continue seeking revenge. There's no possibility of redemption. There's no possibility of redemption even through Noor. And symbolically, her apartment is like a nest of warmth and from Cairo streets. But Saeed corrupts it by bringing danger and paranoia inside. And I feel like to add in,
if you come inside, you'll see
very dark.
that the whole room kind of darkens. The reason for this is that frequently throughout the book, you'll find that within Noor's apartment, especially when Saeed is on this whole monologue and interior monologue about revenge, the apartment is characterized as dark, even though Noor is kind of like a light of hope. Like a light of hope for Saeed to make one last ditch effort for him to turn where she...
Let's run away together, Saeed. You are going to get in trouble.
Where she consistently...
I need my revenge, Noor. We will run away after. Trust me.
Where she consistently asks him to run away, and then as AJ just highlighted, he always kind of puts it off and says, I just need my revenge first, and then we'll run away. And obviously we all know that he never gets that opportunity, and he never gets that opportunity because...
What's this on the floor?
That's a coffee stain. It's a stain. It's just some dirtiness.
Okay.
I think to add on to your analysis, that might be a poop stain.
Yeah,
and here's why. It's Saeed becoming so petrified of Noor leaving by his side after this slow coming connection from Noor that he hasn't gotten from Nabawiya.
You just have to read the quotes.
Oh, sorry. Episode 7, At the Graveyard, First Visit. Among the silent tombs, he felt more at home than among the living.
So just right off the bat, the quote really highlights how he kind of is cemented as alienated from the rest of his community after his time in prison. Like, the Cairo that he knew has changed, and he just can't fit anymore. As he says, he feels more at home with the dead than the living.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Right, and then also, it kind of foreshadows his own death, right? Him saying, I feel more at home with the dead than the living could definitely act as some foreshadowing there for the ending in the book.
Yeah, I agree. And not many questions about this scene. It's very simple. Right. Why does the moon look like the sun?
Well, the moon being so bright and shining a light on him was really just to emphasize like his intense emotional feelings within this.
Dad, Mom, what do I do? Everyone has betrayed me, and I need revenge.
It has a deeper. So
Dad, Mom, what do I do? Everyone has betrayed me, and I need revenge.
So I think we can all see Griffin's analysis was great. Saeed is at his mom's grave, and the symbolism of this is there's nothing going on. It's just silence. There's nothing. He can't hear anything. There's no voices. He came here for clarity, and he got nothing in return.
Episode 8, Killing Raouf's doorman. The shot rang out and the man collapsed. Not Raouf, but an innocent. Again, betrayal by fate itself.
So I think this moment shows like the continuing like cycle kind of Saeed's vengeance. His attempt to punish Raouf misfires, literally and metaphorically. Instead of striking down his betrayer, he kills an innocent man in cold blood, which I thought was the car driver on that test. Turns out it was the doorman. So
yeah, you should have done the reading, right?
Yeah, that was my fault. But it compounds his alienation and guilt and continues common themes of alienation. I don't know what that was, betrayal, and it interprets the misfire as proof that the world is, I would agree, conspiring against him.
Right,
Not
yeah.
only did he steal 10 pounds, very important for the IB exam, but he also like only terrible things have happened to him. It signals his descent into senseless violence, making him cause less justifiable. It aligns with Mafu's critique of revolutionary disillusionment. And a few questions. So everybody in the story has been like lore accurate skin tone. The doorman is yellow.
Right. So you might know Roblox does not have the biggest tolerance towards violence in their game, so I just tried to do the best I could with that.
Take that, Rauf. That's what dogs like you who betray me get.
And you can see, thanks AJ. You can see Rauf is hiding in the background as it said in the story.
Tree, right.
And Saeed, you can tell he has a firearm with him. He's hiding in the bushes.
And his uniform.
Yeah, his uniform. He's ready to I guess you could say slime somebody out.
And then even if you look on the arrogant look on his face, in the book he talks about how he is death and how he will get his revenge, but he ended up not even killing either of the two people he wanted to, taking two instead. So that shows his
I
fall
think
from
this
grace.
is actually final episode 9 of the
final part.
Episode 9, Dying at the Graveyard. Dogs barked and bullets pierced the right as he stumbled among the graves. The earth itself seemed to reject him, and he fell at last into silence.
This one is huge. I think we can both agree.
Yeah, tragic.
It's rife with symbolism. I mean, first we can look at how within this last part of the story, he starts to even gain like animal dog-like characteristics.
Yeah.
The thing that he compared all his traitors to. He's being hunted down by dogs. You can see him hiding behind this tombstone. Obviously, I couldn't fit Sana back there, but within the scene, he has Sana with him.
Yeah.
It's just a complete descent into madness, right?
Yeah, I feel like it just represents the collapse of like the whole story in general. The earth finally rejected him after making everything since he got out of prison be against him. And he has no place among the living or the dead, as you can see in the graveyard. His death in the graveyard fulfills the foreshadowing from earlier in the story. That's been like the whole world is out to get him. And symbolically, the bullets and barking dogs are forces of like order, crushing the chaotic outsider. And he leaves the render with a critique of post-revolutionary Egypt, as you could see earlier in the story. I just have a few questions, Griffin. That cop is either really big or that police car is really small. Can you
Yeah, so on that, I couldn't obviously fit a whole police car in the scene, right? That makes sense. So I made it smaller. That makes sense to me.
Oh,
Wow. Everything has gone wrong, but it was in the name of revenge. I will not die like this. I need revenge.
And obviously he dies like that. So that pretty much concludes our presentation.
and then, no, but before we end, I just think, what's with all these dogs?
Well, it's the thief and the dogs.
And then what's with this temple and the pyramids?
That's just theming. Cairo,
Okay.
Egypt.
Okay, well, I think that's the presentation.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Pena.
Oh my god.
Oh my
Oh my god, bro. I just showered, bro.